360 Band. All right. Welcome.
All right, here we go. Are you ready? Some think the world is made for fun and frolic, and so do I.
And so do I. Some think it well to be all melancholic, to pine and sigh.
To pine and sigh, but I love to spend my time in singing some joyous song.
Some joyous song. To fill the air with music bravely ringing is far from wrong.
It's far from wrong.
Hearken, hearken, music sounds afar. Hearken, hearken, music sounds afar. Tra-la-la-la, 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 tra-la-la-la. Joy is everywhere. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la. Me, 'tis strange that some should take to sighing and like it well.
And like it well. For me, I have not thought it worth the trying, so cannot tell.
So cannot tell. With laugh and dance and song, the day soon passes, full soon is gone.
Full soon is gone. For mirth was made for joyous lads and lasses to call their own.
Oh, to call their own. Hearken, hearken, music sounds afar. Hearken, hearken, music sounds afar. Tra-la-la-la, 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 tra-la-la-la. Joy is everywhere, funiculi, funicula. Hey!
Thank you for raising the roof this early in the morning. Wasn't that good? That was great. Much fun, much fun. Well, welcome. I'm Reverend Dr. Mary Mitchell. I'm a staff minister here at the center and serving Reverend Sue, our senior minister. And here we do some great things. We inspire and empower people to live spiritually fulfilling lives. And living that way is definitely very fulfilling. So if you see some classes in the program or on the board just back there, check it out, because that's one way you get to meet new friends and lead that spiritual, fulfilling life. Right now, I'd like to invite the children up, and as we, the rest of us, turn and wave to the camera. And Lindy's going to pan the camera, so turn around and wave to all those at home and around the world who are watching us this morning. Peace of God. And let's sing to the children. I want you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I want you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. All right, you are the face of God. I want you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Oh, that feels good, doesn't it? That is who we are. I'd like to thank everyone who came here early and has made all this happen. Lindy is our sound team leader. She's back there. And Doug and Ronnie Herber, always our ushers, greeters. We love you guys. And this 360 band, I mean, energy, it just is pure energy, isn't it? It's really great. And our reader this morning will be Nadine, since Craig and his wife are on the coast for their anniversary. So we wish them well. If you have one of those things that goes beep or bong or plays music, if you're here in the sanctuary, please turn it off. Thank you very much. And if you're new with us today, anybody here new today? Well, we do have welcome packets on the back wall in the blue folders, and you're welcome to take one. Or if you'd like to come in during the week, we're open and would love to give you one. Focus announcements. We have some more really great things going on. If you didn't notice, there's a used book sale, and it's in the foyer inside and immediately inside. There's some really great books. So check it out. It will go through October 17th. And the Sacred Drum Circle is today, Reverend Lynn Fritz, at 5:30 to 6:30, and either on the Labyrinth or in here, depending on how hot it gets out there today. So it's drumming and probably some dancing, but you can bring a chair and water and a percussion instrument. Should be a lot of fun. Really let that music shine. And now something people have been waiting for. Reverend Sue's yoga is coming back tomorrow. And Monday, Monday and Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30 in the sanctuary. And you must be vaccinated to attend. And then our dear Shirley Wade. Yay, raise your hand, Shirley. She's going to be having a gathering for seniors. And I think there's a few of us in here that might qualify for that. And it's going to be hosted on Wednesdays, starting this Wednesday, the 6th, 10 to 11:30 in the cottage, the building, children's cottage in the back. If you can't make it every week, you're more than welcome to just drop in. It's a rich time for sharing, and I think that sounds like a lot of fun, Shirley. She's a really sweet one to work with. And then we have a spiritual music jam, Friday, October 8th, in 7 to 8:30 in the sanctuary. Bring your own instrument, enjoy the music. Michael Harris and Sheems Smith will be the music guides to get you started. And so the rest is left to whatever Spirit does through you. So welcome to the Music Jam, Friday, October 8th, masks required. And then October 10th, next Sunday, I'll again do an Essence of the Science of Mind after service. It's one of the 2 short classes that are required if you want to become a member. It'll be right after service in the conference room, and I'll share the history of the center, what we teach, and why we love it. So you're welcome to attend that. All right. We have birthdays. It's birthday time again. It's October. Anybody who has a birthday in October, please stand. All right. Happy birthday to you. Wow. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you. I think that's the most I've seen for 1 month so far this year. That's great. Happy birthday. That's wonderful. We have a reading, and Nadine's going to do that for us. And then we'll have the bell, and I'll do a prayer, and then Sue's Sunday lesson called The Divine Community. Nadine?
The soul of a community is found in the common agreement as to what they love. St. Augustine. And I'll read that one more time to let it sink deeper. The soul of a community is found in the common agreement as to what they love. Next, from Mark Nepo, The Book of Awakening. Imagine that each of us is a spoke in an infinite wheel, and though each spoke is essential in keeping the wheel whole, no 2 spokes are the same. The rim of that wheel is our living sense of community, family, and relationship. But the common hub where all the spokes join is the one center where all souls meet. So as I move out into the world, I live out my uniqueness, but when I dare to look into my core, I come upon the one common center where all lives begin. In that center, we are one and the same. For mysteriously and powerfully, When I look deep enough into you, I find me. And when you dare to hear my fear in the recess of your heart, you recognize it as your secret that you thought no one else knew. And that unexpected wholeness that is more than each of us, but common to all, that moment of unity is the atom of God.
We belong to the community of God, the community that is limitless, expanding throughout the universe in ways that we know are just filled with love, the love of the one that created each one of us. And as human beings, we do like to be in community, whether it's a community of 2 or 3 or 500, maybe 1,000. Reading, we're here, 90,000. And each level of community has a consciousness. Here in this center, it's a consciousness of love, acceptance, forgiveness, joy, in so many ways serving the community, the greater community. It's all a divine experience. And for this, I am so grateful to feel it, to know it, to participate in it, as we all do, with hearts filled with love. So thank you, Spirit, for the ability to know and see community and to participate in so many ways. It fills God's heart with love. And I know that's true. And so it is. Reverend Sue.
Good morning. Such a beautiful service so far. I always love you guys. Thank you. The music makes you happy, and you're a good reader, Nadine. Wasn't that awesome? Boy, slowed it down for us so we could absorb it. Yeah, yay for you. And before I begin, the talk today is about the divine community, the sacred community. And it takes all of us, to keep this center thriving. And there's a lot that goes on. And I want to pause just for a moment and with great respect, turn to Lindy and just give her one of these. She is doing her very best with continuing to rebuild her skills in doing all of this. And I watched her this morning dance around for 360, and I was going to do a presentation on the audio visual thing. But that's not going to happen, so I'm going to have her give you the link. So you go home when you look at your Facebook or your YouTube and click that link to a very awesome video. It's just a 7-minute video, but it kind of ties together what we want to share together today. And so I was just sitting here thinking, watching all of that going on, and knowing there are times when we're in service to the center where it doesn't feel very smooth. We're all doing it because we love one another And we want this teaching to thrive in this community because our children need it, the seniors need it, every family needs it, every person going through a struggle needs this wisdom to empower themselves, to move each week through any challenge that they come up against. So to me, that is divine community. And with all of us putting our hands together and making that happen, we'll be in the flow of that, absolutely. So that little video that I was going to show demonstrates some of the most potent imagery of flow. There's these young children, 1,000 of them, moving their hands this way, and then all of a sudden, in flow, they move their hands another way, and there's this ripple. There's this imagery of when they go to the Mecca and they view butterflies, dolphins. There's a flow in this universe, and we are one with that flow. Seems like lately we've been, banging into our heads into each other, but that's not necessary. What's the ingredient of that? Love. So I start my message there, and the contributor today is Reverend Kathy Beasley from the Florida Center for Spiritual Living. And so I will emphasize a few of her words because they're very potent in what she put together. But I'm going to launch it with the idea of the divine community. And it's something that you've heard before, something that the beloved community you might be familiar with. Dr. Martin Luther King spoke often of beloved community. He means this as a world in which all people share the wealth of the earth, and violations of human decency for all. So there is a Unitarian Universalist named Reverend Dr. Carl Craig, and he shares this insight with us, and I want to take you along this just a little bit. It has a little more depth to what Dr. King stood for. And so he's speaking about the Montgomery bus boycotts, but there was a larger movement towards what Dr. King was building. So it was at the end, a reconciliation. In the end is reconciliation. In the end is redemption. In the end is the creation of the beloved community. It is this type of spirit, this type of love that can transform opponents into friends. Now, when I speak some of these words, I want to remind you to just keep looking in your own heart. Which friend have you turned outside of your heart because of a disagreement? And it seems like in social media, it's been real easy. I'm going to unfriend you. And then our heart locks a little bit more. And social media itself, just unblock that. All more said later. We won't go there because it is also a way to keep in touch with one another. But think about this. This type of spirit and this type of love, we can transform our opponents into friends. This love will bring about miracles in each of our hearts. So he goes on to say, notice as King is what he is not saying. What he is not saying is what we are often accustomed to hearing in our highly competitive society, that the end goal is a decisive or even crushing victory over our opponents. But for King, no. For King, building the beloved community requires even harder work of reconciliation, work of redemption, and being in right relationship, transforming our opponents into our friends. So racism and all forms of discrimination, bigotry, and prejudice, he goes on to say, will be replaced by this all-inclusive spirit of sisterhood, brotherhood. In the beloved community, international disputes will be resolved by peaceful conflict resolution and reconciliation of adversity. Instead of military power, we use love and trust that will triumph over fear and hatred. Peace with justice will prevail over war and military conflict. It's beloved community. It's a dream. And it's so close. We're so close. Recall that Dr. King, when he said the beloved community was a realistic, achievable goal that could be attained by a critical mass of people committed and trained in a philosophy such as ours, and also in methods of nonviolence, which Gandhi and Dr. King and many of the scriptures from the Upanishads and the Vedic texts that we explore here and there, they speak nonviolence. The Tao speaks nonviolence. Our hearts speak and long for nonviolence. So given the effectiveness of this, we have seen the practices of these nonviolent measures in the movements led by all of these people that I've just spoken of, and what it would mean to work towards just having a critical mass of people committed and trained in the philosophy and all of the methods of nonviolence, to still our hearts for a moment, to recognize when tension's building, to say, I need to pull back. I need to take a breath here before I speak another word, because it might be unkind. And so we recognize these opportunities to continue to polish our nature. So in closing about Reverend Carl, what he is saying is that the Unitarians and the Universalists defined themselves against Calvinistic pessimism. So he gives these 3 bullet points. Number 1, rejecting the idea that human nature is characterized by total depravity, and they taught the inherent worth, the inherent dignity of every human being. That's their very first principle. Number 2, instead of some people being predestined to eternal torment, they taught that divine love was for all. Of course it is. That's the all faith path. We really stand on that platform. Maybe they're not very skillful, living it through, but bottom line, we're all taught about divine love. Now, 3rd, instead of top-down, all-powerful, all-controlling God, they emphasize human freedom and human responsibility. We have a responsibility here. So you can feel the tremendous optimism for the potential of both humanity and society. So I speak that, but I keep asking you, where are you in community, and where are we in all of this? So Science of Mind, the organization, Centers for Spiritual Living overall, they have this idea, and this is what Reverend Kathy Beasley brings out. In divine community, we honor one another, the confidence and courage to release all that no longer supports our journey, to let go, to have confidence and courage. If something's not working, but you think it was a spiritual idea at one time, let it go. If it's closing in on you. In the space where I am me, and you are you, there is a beautiful evolution that is nudging us ever forward and pushing us beyond this moment into that critical mass opportunity. Think about that. Into a new space of being, a more profound expression of that there is only one loving source. Our divine community here is fueled and supported, accepting the new thought teaching and a new idea of being every day, rebirthing ourselves every day to new ideas. This is creating a spiritual home, and this is where we belong. We're in the center of this in communion with love itself, and this is where we receive the blessings of understanding that we're doing the best we can each and every day as we start each and every day, and that we are longing to fulfill this prophecy of a beloved community. So we look at our spiritual home here. Let us begin here. In the Tao, oftentimes when you read the scripture, it'll tell you peace begins first with yourself, then in your home and your family, and then into your neighborhoods, into your society, into your church, into your township, into your state, it keeps going into your nation, into the universe. the peace must begin right inside our own hearts. And so we look then another step away, a few degrees further into this place, into this spiritual home that we have developed and cultured and cared for so many years now. Is it your beloved community? Is it? Is it? Stand for it then, if it is, because it is mine. Oftentimes, the opportunity to move further away faces all of us. The one thing that has grounded me here is this church and the people in it. I can't leave. My heart is invested in every one of you. Your hearts are invested in me. I can't go anywhere and find that again. I've built that in my lifetime, and I cherish it, and I believe in it, and I love it. So this is my spiritual community, my beloved community. And my story began when I visited the center. I've told you before, I was offered a little gig at one of the retreats to teach yoga with Dr. James and Dr. Andrew, and they were leading retreats. But then my own story, I started visiting the center in 1984, 1985. As soon as I went to one service, they had a membership meeting the next week, and there I was getting my flower, my carnation. Because I just thought, this is me. This speaks me. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to raise my family in. And so I also believed in the opportunity of selfless service, seva. And so office help was needed, very much needed as the church was growing. So I decided to participate. And Dr. James offered me the opportunity to do computer data entry. Okay, remember I told you it was 1984. Computers were like huge, and they took a long time to warm up and be what they're going to be. And they weren't as savvy as they were today in all the ways that we can, flip around through them. And so all he could hear from his office, just a few chairs away, was, whoops. James, can you come here a minute? And I could just feel he's very patient on the outside. I'm not sure what he was kind of feeling on the inside, because that didn't just happen once. But I didn't know anything about computers, and yet he put me there, and I kept trying to stammer my way out of it, saying, I don't know anything about this. You can do it. If you can take care of people's lives, you can do this, because I was a full-time nurse. So he says, this willingness to even be in the awkward moments when you're trying to be of help for another. Our shy buttons can certainly get pushed in these moments of uncertainty. But every time I interrupted him, he just came back with love. And I begged him to have a detail. Is there anything that needs folding or anything licking an envelope or anything like that? I'm really good at those things. He kept putting me back week after week at this station until I mastered it. But it gave me a deeper appreciation for immersing myself into this philosophy, being a part of community, being a part of what we call seva, being in service for a divine purpose. So Brene Brown tags on this statement, a deep sense of love and belonging is an irreducible need of all people, right? A sense of love and belonging. We're biologically, cognitively, physically, and spiritually wired to love and to be loved and to belong. We're wired that way to belong. So often over the years, people have come here and they feel at home right away. They feel like there's something here. There's something here. There's something helpful here for them. And the various messages over the years they feel were directed right to them. That message was for me today. That was my strength today. And I walk out with that idea to chew on this week. They felt support. They felt tears of connection, tears of healing, tears of possibility. They found forgiveness. They found partnerships. And just this week, when I was getting my eye exam, I had my mask on, and the really friendly person was saying, oh, I see you're a nurse and you're a minister. Are you a chaplain? And I said, oh, no, I retired from nursing and I'm a full-time minister right now over at the Center for Spiritual Living. And she got really excited. That's where I know you from. And I pulled down my mask like I could identify her better, my mask off. It's her I didn't recognize. But I said, tell me more about you. And then she said that her daughter Maddie used to come here. And some of us remember Maddie from youth group, the little cute Maddie. And it was just a real sweet connection. And in that moment, it was like it ignited conversation. It ignited a sense of connectedness because we had something in common. And so I felt that this idea that she was so willing to share who she was, with that heart connection, I realized is such a part of beloved community. And I know this has happened 100 times over for many of you as well, the people that you speak to. This is a community where people discover their way here because they want to connect to that greater idea of themselves. That greater idea also of this idea of love and oneness and the divine. Or sometimes in those searchings, right, we bump into our shadow. We could walk in here and feel frightened. And then instead of looking and soul searching the chamber in the altar of our heart, why am I frightened here? Why am I feeling so shy? What's going on? These people look nice. And then we might find somebody that might trigger a familiarity in us, and we're saying, hey, it's probably them. They look mean. They didn't smile at me. How do they know? You got masks on, right? We don't know anymore with this mask. We have to keep that light in our eyes and feel a sense of kindness in our soul. But this shadow can bump into us, ourselves, new people coming in. And we miss the mark. Yes, we miss the mark. People walk in and they don't feel comfortable and they don't feel welcome. But that's when we misread each other, I think, and we allow doubt to cover our sense of security and safety. And we can start pinning those labels on each other. Oh, they're just in fear. But we all live in our stories. They're all a part of us. And so ultimately we're going to bump in to the mirrors of our mind. And we might find ourselves cynical, and things might look like they're falling apart. But listen to this statement from Brian McLaren. It really jumped out at me. He has a book called Faith After Doubt. Many of us are drawn to faith communities because they are places of warmth, safety, and belonging. But sometimes they are among the most dangerous zone we enter. You are reasonably safe in your racial group as long as you don't change the color of your skin. You are reasonably safe in your cultural and political groups as long as you speak the shared language. You are reasonably safe in your professional group as long as you do a good job and follow professional protocol. But in many religious contexts, the terms of belonging are different and more demanding. They depend on professed belief. You can't be safe or secure in your belonging unless you conform. Now, I really sat with that idea, whether I buy into it wholeheartedly, but I always am looking, how can we serve the greater community? We vision this place as a beacon of light to call the people here, to have a new idea of who they are. But if we are missing the mark in any way, I want to know that. I want to be told that. I want to respond to that. So the global message of CSL overall, in Reverend Jim Lockhart's book, as he wrote in the Creating Your Beloved Community, the global vision, again to remind you, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of life, a world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. Through spiritual wisdom, we are guided. Through experience, we are guided. We are not dictated to, we are guided at our own heart's willingness, global vision. So, as Reverend Jim Lockhart says in Creating Beloved Community, each beloved community has a core mission to reveal and to heal such issues that might arise when we fail one another, to honestly confront discontent, to compassionately make corrections as they unfold. We recognize the need to fulfill an ongoing journey to express spiritual principle at the highest level in our lives. We are each continuing to wake up, but it's important to know that as we lean into one another, instead of fighting one another, criticizing each other, or failing to see the other party has reached out their hand, we cannot be stubborn here, that spiritual work is our highest expression, even when it's challenging, even when our heart feels like it's getting smaller. We, all of us, have the inner work to do, the call to recognize that when we feel separate and when we are trying to control what's going on, remember, we are indeed interconnected, and in this interbeingness, we thrive. Ultimately, a divine community is shaped by a tapestry of the principles of truth, light, love, compassion, most importantly, forgiveness. Individuals connecting because they are seeking the answers to those universal questions. Who am I? Who in the heck am I? And why am I here? And then when I find that out, now how can I serve? How can I give back? And it takes commitment, it takes humility to walk the spiritual journey. We are each individual expressions of this one love, and it takes all of us to move the flow, to be that critical mass. There's a beautiful YouTube by Prince Ia, and it says, "This is who we are." And he starts off just walking around a room, could be like this, filled with various variety of light bulbs, all shapes, colors, sizes, clear glass, colored glass, fractured glass, beautiful light bulbs. And they all look different, all manufactured by others, perhaps, and there's bright bulbs and then dull ones. And then he says, compares each one of us to these light bulbs and says, each one share one thing in common, right? All of us here share one thing in common, all of us light bulbs. The current running through us, the spirit running through us, so that each light bulb looks different on the outside, but on the inside, it's pure energy flowing. That's us as human beings. The divine intelligent energy is giving us life, and it's not dependent on our color or our race or our religious beliefs or our politics or any of our personal choices or freedoms. It's just pure, creative, intelligent energy, and it's ours to claim. Now, there's a beautiful quote from Papaji, a great yogi. His advice, keep quiet. I smile at that. Just keep quiet. Those moments when you feel this distress, keep quiet for a few moments longer and let love prevail. So we can feel what we feel and get an idea of what our thoughts are and see what we're associating with. What is our perception? What is our emotion? Or what is our memory? Who am I here? Keep quiet. Keep quiet and see. So the film that we were going to look at together had a few of these ideas, that we were meant to be in service to something larger than ourselves, that life is supposed to be beautiful. And if what we need most of all is never to forget this, We're designed to be in that flow of life. So this is where that video, if you get a chance to check it out, that clip, we're reminded to let go of our control, bow to service to that which is larger than ourselves. You want to feel that the creator of this clip is saying it. Then we're acting on a pure, deep intention, and we're just at the edge of our courage. So I'm going to, Judy, I'm going to throw you off, but I'm going to invite her up because I'm not showing the clip, but I would like her to play in the background. And there's several of us studying Greg Braden's book, Wisdom Codes, and there are a few copies. You can look at it in the bookstore as well. These are protection codes that Greg Braden has gone through and found the potency of various scripture. And he takes it apart and he gives us just a few frames of words to reference. And this one is from the Buddhist text, but it's about protection of who you are. And he speaks of the Buddha's prayer of refuge. So I'm going to take you just for a few moments as she begins to play. Is the principle, first one is find refuge in the Buddha. Now that's one of the first points he's making. To commit, though, not necessarily to the idea of Buddha, if that closes you down a little, but to a path of conscious thought and mindful action designed to lead to a greater state of awareness of ourselves and our relationship to the world, a deeper relationship to the enlightened ones. Number two, refuge in the Dharma. This is the second object of refuge. And within this prayer, it is said this harmonizes the unsettled and fearful emotions of our mind, shifting our attention from those chaotic patterns and matters of the world back to the harmony that is our true nature, that the human body frees us from fear and suffering. That's our Dharma. And refuge, I love this piece. This is why I'm including it. Refuge in the Sangha. Refuge here in the Sangha is spending time in the company of bodhisattvas, beings who are achieving an advanced state of consciousness. Compassionate beings, that's who you are, that's who I am, that's who we are. Although they've already reached different states of enlightenment, we each have had our moments. We choose to remain in this realm, to reach out and hold each other's hand when another one is suffering or crying, hurting, wounded, desperate. We're right there. And we pray also for an unlimited duration, he says, until I attain enlightenment. So join with me as I recite that together. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I take refuge until I attain enlightenment. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I take refuge until I attain enlightenment. So as we feel that, as we feel the privilege of the words of the Buddha imposed upon our heart, that is our closing prayer, I leave it with this scripture from John 15. As the Father has loved me, as the mystery has loved me, as the divine spirit has loved me, as the great creative intelligence has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. I have said these things to you, and that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. This is my commandment spoken by the One, that you love one another as the divine has loved you. There's nothing else to do. So be it. So it is. And let's celebrate that. Thank you. 360.
stream sings it to the river. The river sings it to the sea. And the sea sings it to the boat that carries you and me. Somos el barco, somos el mar, yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, and we are the sea. I sail in you, and you sail in me. Now the boat that we are sailing in was built by many hands, and the sea that we are sailing on, it touches every sand. Somos el barco, somos el mar, yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, and we are the sea. I sail in you, you sail in me. Oh, the voyage has been long and hard, yet we're sailing still, with a song to help us pull together. Oh, and we surely will. Somos el barco, somos el mar, yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, and we are the sea. I sail in you, you sail in me. So with our hopes we raise the sails to face the winds once more, and with our hearts we chart those waters never sailed before. Somos el barco, somos el mar, yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, we are the sea. I sail in you, you sail in me.
That was a great visual. Oh, great visual. Thank you. No glasses. Okay. We have our, Charlie and I are practitioners for you today. If you would like a prayer after service, we'll be over here by the bell. And we have, can you get me my glasses? Oh, getting old is hard. Oh my gosh, thank you. I was trying to squint. Oh, how embarrassing. Okay. Now I see. We have the Practitioner Affirmation, so if you would say this after me. Gratefully I give with an attitude of abundance.
Gratefully I give with an attitude of abundance.
For as I give, I do receive.
For as I give, I do receive.
Excellent. And so Judy is going to play I Am So Blessed as the ushers come forward and accept your wonderful donations and greatly appreciated donations. so blessed. We take a moment to bless these offerings, every dollar given, every coin given, not only here this morning, but throughout the week and throughout the month. It supports this great center for our greater community in so many ways, and we are in good shape, and we are so appreciative of that. So every dollar is greatly appreciated, and so it is. Thank you, ushers. So we like to close with this affirmation, and please say it after me. There is only one life.
There is only one life.
And that life is God's life.
That life is God's life.
That life is perfect.
That life is perfect.
And that life is my life now.
That life is my life now.
Whoa, there is only one life.
There's only one life.
That life is God's life.
That life is God's
That
life.
life is perfect.
That life is perfect.
And that life is my life and your life now.
That life is my life and your life now.
Whoa.
Whoa.
It's so much fun to work with you. All right. So Charlie and I will be here for you, and we have a closing song by the Great 360 Band. Are you ready? All right.
Oh, we're getting it. Think of your fellow man, give him a helping hand. Put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you. Oh, and me. You just wait and see. Oh, another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. You want the world to know we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you. And me. You just wait and see. Oh, put a little love in your heart. Just put a little love in your heart. Oh, put a little love in your heart. Yes, put a little love in your heart. Now take a good look around, and if you're feeling down, put a little love in your heart. I know when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place. And the world will be a better place for you. And me. You just wait and see. Oh, put a little love in your heart. Yes, right. Put a little love in your heart all the time. Put a little love in your heart, everybody. Put a little love in your heart. Once more. Put a little love in your heart. Go to it.